And the Clinton campaign is backing cybersecurity experts who say Russia likely stole the emails and gave them to WikiLeaks. Hillary Clinton's campaign manager accuses the Russian government of trying to help Donald Trump's campaign.
Didn't your organization do some investigation that proved it couldn't have been hacked, that it had to be downloaded, those emails?
Yes. We asked one of our members, Bill Binney. Bill is the former number 4 at NSA. The question is that the information, we know the speed at which the information was downloaded. And the conclusion is that it could not possibly have been downloaded remotely. The only way it could have been downloaded at the speed at which it was downloaded was to have somebody actually put a USB, a thumb drive into a USB port and download it on site.
There hasn't been a lot of squabbling. What we've simply said is the facts, which are that based on uniform intelligence assessments, the Russians were responsible for hacking the DNC.
What a sham. What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
According to BuzzFeed, the FBI never investigated the DNC's hacked servers before issuing a hacking report. According to a source in the intelligence community, no U.S. government entity has run an independent forensic analysis of the system. Walker says the FBI relied on information provided by CrowdStrike, which concluded that Russia-linked hackers were behind the attack.
Director Comey, let me talk about forensics for just a minute because the FBI has the expertise there. And I know there's tremendous investigative value when the FBI is actually able to conduct their own forensics review on devices that have suffered cyber intrusions and attacks. I believe there's some confusion, though, or at least some conflicting reporting as to whether the FBI requested access to the DNC's services, the Democratic Congressional Committee servers, and John Podesta's personal devices. Did the FBI request access to those devices to perform forensics on?
Yes, we did.
And would that access have provided intelligence or information helpful to your investigation and possibly to the findings included in the intelligence community assessments?
Our forensics folks would always prefer to get access to the original device or server that's involved. So it's the best evidence.
Never been lonely, never been lonely, never been lied to, never.
Were you given access to do the forensics on those servers?
We were not. We were a highly respected private company, eventually got access and shared with us what they saw there.
Can you repeat the part of this stuff where you said all about the things?
But is that typically the way the FBI would prefer to do the forensics, or would your forensics unit rather feel the servers and do the forensics themselves?
We'd always prefer to have access hands-on ourselves, if that's possible.
Do you know why you were denied access to those servers?
I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure.
Was there one request or multiple requests?
Multiple requests at different levels, and ultimately what was agreed to is the private company would share with us what they saw.
What a sham. What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
Glenn Greenwald says is the Mueller investigation is complete, and this is a simple fact that will never go away. Not one single American was ever charged, indicted, or convicted for conspiring with Russia to influence the 2016 election.
Welcome back to The Lead. This just into CNN. Russian hackers managed to infiltrate the computer network at the Democratic National Committee. CNN correspondent Renee Marsh joins me now. Renee, do investigators have any idea why they were looking into that file?
Well, we do know, first off, that this was a very sophisticated hack. The cybersecurity firm called in to investigate tells CNN the perpetrators are affiliated with the Russian government, and the goal was essentially to gather intelligence.
Please welcome our guest, whistleblower, former CIA agent John Kiriakou. For a year, I've been hearing that Trump is committing treason because he colluded. He worked with people inside the Kremlin to get damaging information on Hillary Clinton, his political opponent.
Collusion is an entirely different thing. Collusion is a conspiracy to subvert our democracy. And, you know, Rachel Maddow can say all she wants that the Russians and the Trump campaign colluded to subvert our elections and our democracy. But, you know, she's going to have to provide some evidence.
Wouldn't extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence?
And I'd like to know, where's the beef? You know, we have Jim Clapper, the former director of national intelligence, who wrote an article in Politico magazine over the weekend in which the bottom line is, and he actually says these words, he says, take my word for it. It's like, take your word for it. You lied under oath to the American people before Congress.
So what I wanted to see is if you could give me a yes or no answer to the question, does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly. There are cases where they could inadvertently, perhaps, collect, but not wittingly.
What I'm saying is that the Director of National Intelligence in March did directly lie to Congress, which is against the law.
Russia embarked on a campaign to interfere with our presidential election, which was unprecedented in its directness and aggressiveness. Apart from the infamous hacking of the Democratic National Committee.
But you want us to take your word for it? You know, I say this all the time, too. The CIA told us, for example, that there was no torture program. That was a lie. The CIA told us that there was no program of extraordinary renditions. That was a lie. The CIA told us that there was no archipelago of foreign secret prisons. That was a lie. The CIA told us that they were not hacking into the Senate Intelligence Committee's computers. That was a lie.
John Brennan was confirmed to be the next head of the CIA. Reignited debate, of course, about the use of drones.
3 months after 42 civilians died, John Brennan stood up and said,
there hasn't been a single collateral death.
Based on what Director Brennan has informed us, I have grave concerns that the CIA's search may well have violated Executive Order 12333, which prohibits the CIA from conducting domestic searches or surveillance.
As far as the allegations of, CIA hacking into, Senate computers, nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, we wouldn't do that.
Director Brennan, in 2014, the CIA conducted an unauthorized search of Senate files, including the emails of Senate staff investigating the CIA's use of torture.
But now they want us to believe that there was collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. Please, I don't believe anything the CIA tells us.
I agree. I'm shocked at the left's willingness to take the government's word for it. Hey, 17 intelligence agencies. Remember this slide? Remember how they would say there were 17 intelligence agencies signed off on it? 17.
We have 17 intelligence agencies, civilian and military, who have all concluded that these espionage attacks, these cyber attacks, come from the highest levels of the Kremlin.
Oh, that turned out to be a lie, too. It wasn't 17 intelligence agencies. It was 4, which was really 3. And by the way, every one of those investigators handpicked to do what they wanted them to do. So they're it's shocking to me to see people, even outside of the establishment media on the left, buying this hook, line, and sinker because they hate Trump so much. Let me, so now your organization, the Veterans of Veteran Intelligence Professionals for Sanity, now you issued a report that said that the DNC's server, which, by the way, I want to remind everybody, The charge was that the Russians hacked into the DNC server, but then the DNC never gave their server to the FBI or the Department of Homeland Security to confirm that. So now that's an unconfirmed charge, which I'm going to say is a lie. So they're proven liars. Why would you take their word for it? They didn't give their server over to the DHS or the FBI. Now, didn't your organization do some investigation that proved it couldn't have been hacked, that it had to be downloaded, those emails?
Yes. We asked one of our members, Bill Binney. Bill is the former number 4 at NSA and one of the country's leading thinkers on issues of internet privacy. We asked Bill to take a look at the science behind this idea that the Russians hacked into the DNC computers. I'm a layman, so I'm going to put it in layman terms because I don't really understand the science of it. But his conclusion is that the information, we know the speed at which the information was downloaded. And the conclusion is that it could not possibly have been downloaded remotely. The only way it could have been downloaded at the speed at which it was downloaded was to have somebody actually put a USB, a thumb drive into a USB port and download it on site.
They do all these deals. They get all this money into their foundation. They got $142 million over that Uranium One thing. And people go, oh, that's been debunked. It hasn't been debunked. That's corruption of the highest order, $142 million. All right, so now he's going to tell you the same thing. Watch this.
Hillary Clinton has done quite well strategically to try and draw connection between Trump and Russia because she has so many connections of her own. Now, my analysis of Trump and Russia is that there is no substantial connection. Why do I say that? Well, because Trump was trying to invest in Russia before Putin in the 1990s, after Putin, in fact, nearly all the way up to the present moment. And he's had no success. He did not manage to build hotels and so on in Russia. So that shows how insubstantial his contacts are. There's an extremely well-documented pattern of when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, those people, companies, governments, who wanted a decision by the Secretary of State in their favor, making large donations to the Clinton Foundation or in some other cases, business deals with the people around Hillary Clinton. Now, one particular instance is the approval by Secretary Clinton of selling 20% of the US uranium reprocessing rights to a Russian company to be exported to Russia. So at that time, a large donation was made by those Russian interests to the Clinton Foundation.
$142 million. So now you watch the shows, so you know that Russiagate was started by the intelligence community. But the point is that they admit this on TV every once in a while. So here's the former deputy director of the FBI, and he's going to tell you right now. I've showed this to you before. I'll show it to you right now. He's going to show you this is what the FBI used to do as their mission. Watch this.
The electorate in some places is putting more and more progressives and self-described socialists in positions. And ironically, years ago when I first got into the FBI, one of the missions of the FBI in its counterintelligence efforts was to try and keep these people out of government. Why? Because we would end up with massive dysfunction and massive disinformation and massive misinformation. And it seems to me that's where we're at today.
So that's him admitting when he got into the FBI, it was our mission to make sure we kept certain people out of government, meaning progressives or people who they thought were left. So that's him admitting that. But now Trump, they're like, well, we don't like Trump, so we got to get rid of Trump too, right? So, and here it is. Here's another FBI guy. He's the FBI agent and former deputy assistant director. And now they got a hold of his text. Do you remember this? And his text, watch what he gets revealed in his text. Here we go.
For context, Ms. Page said, not ever going to become president, right? Right?
No, he's not. We'll stop it.
Repeat that again.
No, he's not. We'll stop it.
former Deputy Assistant Director of the FBI, is caught saying the FBI, is going to stop Trump from being president. Hey, I don't want Trump to be president, but I certainly don't want the FBI taking it upon them to decide who gets to be our leaders in this country. Certainly not unelected spooks like this liar. And this guy, they say Trump's a liar. This guy lied to this FBI 3 times when he was interviewed. This guy, he didn't go to jail. That's right. Okay. He gets better. Now it gets funny. Watch this.
August 15th, 2016.
I want to believe the path you threw out for consideration in Andy's office, that there's no way he gets elected, but I'm afraid we can't take that risk. It's like an insurance policy in the unlikely event you die before you're 40.
What the hell is that? They can't take that risk that Trump might get elected, even though you guys say he won't. We can't take that chance. We have to sabotage this election. That's what he's saying. Gets funnier. Here we go.
On October 20th, 2016.
I can't pull away and I defer to the chairman whether
You can just use one letter if you don't mind.
What the F happened to our country, Lise?
Okay, read it again that way.
Sir, did you not, was it not
I just wanted to hear it
you
one
just
more
want
time.
to hear it for me to repeat it.
So it's good. Just, throw it away. Have fun with it. Make it your own this time. Just go ahead. Okay.
Please.
Okay, sir. Sure. Happy to indulge you. I can't pull away what the F happened to our country, Lise.